My name is Clara. I'm 25 years old, and I come from a small town in the south of Vietnam. 5 months ago, if you had asked me, "How are you?" I would have frozen. My mind would go completely blank. I couldn't even say a full sentence in English without stumbling. I felt stuck, lost, small. But today, I want to tell you a story. Not just about how I learned English, but about how one failure, one moment of pain, pushed me to change everything. And maybe, just maybe, if you're feeling stuck like I was, this story could be your story too. I had always dreamed of becoming a web designer for an international company. I loved design. I loved creating beautiful things on a screen. And I worked really hard. I spent nights and weekends learning everything I could about websites, colors, typography. One day, I finally got an email that made me scream with joy. "Dear Clara, we would love to interview you for the position. Please join us on Zoom this Friday." I couldn't believe it. This was it, my chance, my dream job. A company based in Canada, offering remote work, good salary, and a team of talented people. I saw my future right there. Better life, helping my family, doing what I loved. But when the interview started, it felt like everything collapsed. There were 3 people on the screen, all speaking English. Fast English. I tried to smile, to stay calm, but I couldn't understand them. They asked, "Clara, could you tell us about your experience in design?" I knew the answer, but my mouth didn't. I said, I design website. Good, many project." Then silence. They were kind. They smiled, but I could feel it. I had lost the opportunity. Not because I wasn't good at design, but because I couldn't speak English. That night, I sat in my room in the dark. I cried. I was angry at myself, at the years I told myself English doesn't matter. But now I saw the truth. Without English, my dreams would always stay far away. That night, I made a promise. I would learn English, and I would do it in 5 months. I didn't have money for expensive classes. I didn't live in an English-speaking country, but I had something else: determination. Most people start with grammar books, vocabulary lists, or apps. I didn't, because I had already tried those things. They didn't work for me. This time, I would do it my way. The simple way. The real way. Here's how I did it, step by step. First 15 days, I stopped learning new words. Yes, you heard that right. I didn't add anything new to my brain. Instead, I asked myself, what can I already say? I wrote 50 simple, useful sentences like, "I don't understand. Can you say that again?" I am learning English. Every morning, I read those sentences aloud, 10 times, slowly, clearly. At first, I sounded like a robot, but after 5 days, something started to change. The words came out more naturally. I wasn't thinking so hard anymore. Then I started talking to myself. Yes, it felt silly at first, but I did it anyway. When I was cooking, I said, I'm cutting tomatoes. I'm making soup. When I was walking, I said, the sky is blue. That woman is holding a baby. It was like I was living in an English movie, but I was the narrator. Next, I practiced 5 sentences every day, but with emotion. I took short sentences from movies or YouTube videos. I didn't just say them, I copied them. The way native speakers said them, the rhythm, the feeling, the pauses. I mimicked everything. I became an actress in my own language story. And slowly, I started sounding less like a student and more like a real speaker. After 2 weeks, I started my secret weapon, the question-answer method. Every day, I asked myself simple questions in English. What did you do today? I worked. Then I added more. I worked on a design. I worked on a website for a bakery. It took me 3 hours. Each day, my answers got longer, more natural. And I didn't need to translate in my head anymore. It was like building a bridge from my thoughts to my words. But pronunciation, that was still hard. People could understand me, but I didn't like how I sounded, so I started the echo technique. I'd watch a short clip from a movie, pause, repeat the sentence, again, again. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, until my voice started to sound familiar, until I started to believe I could sound like them. Month 3, vocabulary, but in stories. I chose 5 new words a day, not from a list, but from life, songs, movies, conversations. Then I made a tiny story with all 5 words. New words: invitation, surprise, birthday, excited, cake. My story: I got an invitation to a party. I was excited, but when I arrived, it was a surprise. It was my birthday, and there was a big cake. I read that story 10 times out loud, then used those words the next day. That's how I learned over 1,000 words without memorizing. Month 4, I started writing in English. At night, before sleeping, I opened my notebook. I went to the market today. I bought bananas. The weather was hot. It was simple. But every day I got better. I stopped writing like a student. I started writing like a real person, and slowly, grammar rules started to make sense, not because I studied them, but because I used them. Month 5, I spoke to real people. This was the scariest part. I was afraid they wouldn't understand me, that I'd embarrass myself, but I told myself, you've come too far to stop now. So I joined an online English speaking group. The first time, I was so nervous my hands were shaking, but the people were kind, patient, supportive, and when I spoke, even with mistakes, they listened. They smiled, and I realized maybe I'm not as bad as I think. Then came the final test. I applied again. Same company, same position. But this time, I was not the same Clara. I had changed. I opened Zoom, smiled, and said, "Hi, it's so nice to meet you. I'm excited to talk about this opportunity." I answered every question calmly, naturally, with confidence. And a week later, I got the call. "Clara, congratulations. We'd love to have you on the team." I cried. Then I called my mom. "Mom, I did it." She cried too. With my first salary, I bought my father a new phone. His old one was broken, but he never complained. For my mother, I bought her a silk scarf, soft and elegant, just like her. They tried to say, "You don't need to buy us anything," but I looked at them and said, This is just my way of saying thank you for believing in me even when I didn't believe in myself." So here's what I learned. You don't need perfect English. You need real English. You don't need a teacher. You need a system that works for you. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be brave. The secret isn't in books, it's in your daily habits. And most of all, if I can do it, you can too. Your journey might look different. It might take longer, but the path is there. Every sentence you speak, every word you write, every moment you don't give up is one step closer to the life you want. So don't stop.